welcome to the Video Store Podcast. I'm your host, Bolsels, and today I am joined by Emma Naomi in our digital studio. Emma started acting in film and television in 2016 with the short films House Girl and Pakaloo, after which she got cast as a main character in Professor T and also went back in time to portray Alice Mondridge in Bridgerton. Her work is not only limited to film and TV, though, because she also did a big voice role in the popular racing game Forza Horizon 5. Today we will be talking about the Stephen King adaptation, The Green Mile. How are you, Emma?
I'm good, Bo. How are you?
Good, good. Where did your passion for storytelling start? Or like, because I see acting as a form of storytelling.
Yeah.
So where did that passion start for you?
I think quite young, actually. I think I used to watch lots and lots and lots and lots of film with my mum. So this was back when you could actually buy DVDs in a store.
Yeah.
And so every weekend she'd go and she'd just choose her favorite actors. So that would be Denzel Washington, Sandra Bullock, Tom Hanks, Julia Roberts, and we would just watch any film that they were in. Since I was, I think, very young, actually, maybe 7, and I was definitely watching things that were a bit mature for a 7-year-old, but I think that's where the love of it came, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to, that's what I've always wanted to do, but then I guess I didn't really start trying to do something about it until I was about 16.
All right.
Yeah, I went to classes at this like Saturday school.
All right. It's like like as a hobby back then.
Yeah, it was a hobby, but the school had connections. It was a school called Sylvia Young, and you were meant to wear this black t-shirt as a uniform, and I never wore it. So I was called into her office and I got into trouble, but I didn't really. She just ended up putting me on her books, like agency books. And back then the Harry Potter films were filming. So they needed kids.
Yeah.
They needed students, and like a bunch of us got to go and just be little wizards in the last Harry Potter film, which
Oh
was
my God.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And so you were fighting in the Battle of Hogwarts, or what scenes were you in?
I don't think they actually made the film. We were running away from a giant troll.
All right.
And the Slytherin kids got locked in some dungeon somewhere.
Yeah, that's actually a deleted scene. So I did watch that. So I probably saw you in that.
Okay, well, I've never seen it, but yeah. So we did that, and I think there's a bit where I can't remember. We're running down the stairs. I think Voldemort is coming at this point, and we all need to flee. And I saw myself for like maybe 2 seconds or something, but it was 2 weeks of filming, and so yeah, that was great. You're just like, sorry, miss, I can't be in school. I'm going to go to Hogwarts or whatever.
Oh my God, that's like a dream, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But you told me you were watching films with your mom on a very young at a very young age. Films you weren't really supposed to watch. So what were those films you weren't really supposed to watch?
I think I watched Titanic about 11 times when I was 7. It's a 15, that film. The Green Mile, Erin Brockovich, You've Got Mail, anything with Denzel Washington in it. Just mature themes. And yeah, so with The Green Mile, that's an 18. And there's a scene, I know we're going to talk about this a bit later, but when what's his name? Delacroix, Monsieur Delacroix. What's his name?
They call him Del in the film, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
What
anyway,
his name is.
Yeah, he fries horribly.
Yeah.
And I think my 10-year-old self didn't understand that wasn't real.
Ooh, wow.
And I was so upset. And my mum would be like, "Oh, don't worry, it's just a film. It's just a film. It's just a film." But yeah, films like that, which are
Right.
beautiful.
And like from the Saturday school onwards, what did you do afterwards with acting?
I just applied to drama school. I was pretty lucky. I got in the first time.
Hmm.
And then I moved to a different drama school the year after.
All right.
Yeah. So I was training since I was 18, really.
Hmm.
And then, then I went out into the big bad world. Big bad industry, I should
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, it is a big
Um,
history.
yeah, when I was, about 21, 22.
All right. That's actually like quite young because a lot of people like struggle in like acting school and maybe afterwards struggle a little bit to get roles, but you were pretty set from the get-go, I think, weren't you?
Um, I would say probably not. I was lucky with my first ever job. I did the Crucible straight out of drama school, and then I had a big gap.
Ah, right.
So I actually trained to become a fitness instructor.
All right.
Yeah. And I was teaching Zumba and I was teaching loads of sort of dance fitness classes for a couple of years and took jobs in restaurants and did that for a
Yeah.
while. And then I think things started becoming a bit more regular, maybe 3 years after graduating.
Hmm.
Yeah, so yeah. And the thing about this career is that you never really know when you're gonna have a break, as it were. You just have to keep going. So yeah, it's all very, very good now, and I don't take that for granted because I know what it's like to also just not have the work, and that could be any one of us at any given point, which
Hmm.
is, I guess, part of the joy of the storytelling when you do get to do it. And I think it's a reason why a lot of people also then fall into the other parts of it all, the writing, the directing, the creation of it, like you.
Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah.
me. I'm not an actor though, but or I don't want to act. But I because I think I would be a very very lousy actor. But but I really enjoy doing the figuratiebegeleidiing. Uh,
Yeah. That's a good
yeah,
one.
I thought that was so funny. We were having a drink after a shooting day, and you asked me like it's like maybe the first conversation we had. How are the figuranten today? And I was like, oh, you say figuranten? I thought you guys said extras, but you don't.
No, we don't. We don't say that. That's quite an old term. We say supporting actors now.
Ah, yeah, right,
Yeah.
right, yeah, all right. So yeah, it's yeah, with us the name hasn't changed, but I think figuranten is a little more respectful towards them. Or
Yeah, figuratis is a nice word. I like it.
yeah. But you yeah, Barney and Andy and I also saw it. They told me you in the 3 years you worked here, your Dutch got quite good.
Yeah, I think so. I think it got decent. It didn't get good. I was never able to hold a very confident conversation, but I can understand a lot and I'm still learning the words. I don't think I'll ever stop now, seeing as I've started, and I just have so much respect for you guys. You speak so many languages, at least three, very, very well.
Yeah, we kind of have to because no one that like Dutch is such a um yeah not many people in the world speak Dutch. Like when we go to South Africa, we can understand what those people are saying, and they can probably also understand what we are saying. But yeah, Otherwise, it's only one half of Belgium and the Netherlands.
Mm.
So we have to learn more languages. And like everyone, basically everyone in Belgium speaks or at least understands English, so that's very handy.
Yeah, it's good for your brain too, though.
Yeah, yeah, because like in Germany or something, everything gets dubbed. Like all the media they get there. Um, that's American made or UK made. It gets dubbed by their own voice actors, so they don't have to learn to read or speak English. And our like the business here of dubbing is too small. It only happens with kids films, so and like animation films. So if we want to watch like English spoken films, we need to understand some English.
Okay. But you learn it in school, right? Do
Yeah, but it's
you?
pretty low level. Like most people already speak and understand pretty good English by the points we start getting it at school. So
Okay.
it's like we learn to speak clean UK English. Like we learn to speak British, and like they try to take all the American out of us. But mostly that's like the our main influence of the language. We learn to speak it very cleanly at school. How did Bridgerton happen for you? Because it's like how many years were you graduated by then?
A while. I think 4 or 5 years by then.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So Bridgerton happened on a self-tape. At that point, actually, I had sort of not given up, but I was taking a break from acting.
Mm.
I I was working 3 jobs. I was a fitness instructor. I was doing movement in a school, and I was working in a pub. And I was running around trying to make rent, and it just wasn't really working out. It was very difficult.
Yeah, I can
And,
imagine.
and so I decided, oh man, do you know what? I don't want to live here anymore. I don't want to pay this rent anymore. And I moved to Manchester. And I moved to Manchester to do a level 3 diploma in massage therapy.
Mm.
And my plan at that time was to just find something a bit more flexible that would allow me to perhaps, if auditions come up, move my schedule around. And because
Yeah.
I was a fitness instructor, I felt like I already had a good understanding of the body, what
Mhm.
injuries happen, and then how to fix them or to help
Yeah.
relieve some pain. So I left. I think I was maybe 3 weeks into the course where I got this phone call about that tape that I had done however many weeks before that I
Yeah.
got the job. Actually, I
Okay.
think I had got off the train, and the minute I got off the train, I got the call that I got the job.
Hmm.
So, so yeah, that's how Bridgerton happened. But at the time, nobody knew how big the show was going to be, how
Oh,
successful it was going to be. It was just, another job. Everybody was really nice. The sets were incredible, of course.
yeah.
And yeah, and then lockdown happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And did
there
it
was
happen during shooting?
no. So we had finished maybe in the February or the March, maybe even the April of that year, 2020. But we had started the year before,
All right.
2019. And I think it only affected the edit. I'm not actually 100% sure on that.
Mhm.
But it didn't release at the time it was meant to release, which meant that it was released on Christmas Day.
Yeah, right.
Yes, which I think is definitely a contributing factor to its success.
Yeah, and also like I think it's a very, very well written and acted show, and also very well directed. And it's like Shonda Rhimes is involved in it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was was pretty big before. So
Oh, sure. Grey's Anatomy.
yeah, like How to Get Away with Murder and stuff. Um, so I think the success was very, very deserved. But yeah, coming out on Christmas Day probably helps because it's like it's Gossip Girl in like the Victorian era, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. It does have that vibe. And you are right. It is so phenomenally acted and really well written.
Mhm.
And I think just a joyous show.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like it's funny when it needs to be, it's earnest when it needs to be. It's a little, it's a very light show to watch, but you're always satisfied. And like I'm not absolutely not the demographic for it, but I really, really enjoyed it. Because it's very sassy and like with the voiceover from
Oh
that
yeah,
Julie Andrews, right?
that's Julie Andrews.
It's also really funny. Um, yeah, and like a lot of people's careers got launched by it because Renee Jean Page,
Reggae, yeah.
reggae, yeah, yeah, sorry.
Yes, yes.
He has a huge career right now. He's in a few very big films, and um, for you, like Professor T happened afterwards, right?
Just afterwards.
All
So
right.
when we had finished filming, I think I was due to start Professor T in April,
Mm-hmm.
but then lockdown happened.
Yeah.
So we weren't able to start. Um, but yes, I had already met Ben Miller on
Yeah.
Bridgerton. Actually, he was the first person I worked with that on the first day of Bridgerton. Yeah, it was this huge ball, and the ball took a week to film.
Wow.
And it was one shot from conversation to conversation. The camera was going around in a circle. So you had to be perfectly timed with your movements. And there's like
Yeah.
200 people in that room. So yeah, that was fun. That was a challenge.
Yeah. That's
Then I
a
was
challenge
very
for my
happy to
job.
see Ben again for Professor T.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a coincidence. Because yeah, I also noticed Ben is also in Bridgerton. And I was wondering like what came first. But yeah, that's quite a coincidence because with Professor T, you got to work quite close to him, right?
Yes, I did. I did. We had a lot of scenes together. He's great.
Yeah, because you're like his protege in the show, like
Yes,
kind
yes. I volunteer myself as his protege in the show.
like did the second season already come out in the UK?
Yeah, so the second season just came out on PBS. I think it finished last week actually.
Ah, okay. All
But
right.
UK it was already out at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, I think yeah, I still
Yes.
need to watch it because we have the first season on Disney Plus in Belgium, but I don't think we have the second yet.
Okay.
But I'm very curious because obviously I know what happens in the third season, which we will not spoil. Uh, but yeah, I'm super curious what happens in season two. Um, but how does like how does a Belgian set work differently than a British or an American set? Because was Bridgerton shot in the UK or in the States?
It's shot in England, all of it, but it's an American production.
Yeah.
So I couldn't confidently tell you actually whether it's run like an American set or a British set because I haven't actually done that much screen. I've done 5 years of theatre, then I got Bridgerton. Then I went back to the theatre and then I got Professor T. And
Mm,
that's pretty much the extent of the screen work apart from a couple of short films, and a lovely film called Surprise by Oxford that I did last year. But what I can say, is that the crew in Belgium is a lot smaller, and everything is very efficient and happens very quickly. I think people are multitasking a lot.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, and it gives for a more familiar and homely vibe. I get the sense that people in Belgium have worked with each other for many, 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 many years, and that the team comes as almost a family, and the family moves around and does different projects.
Yeah, kinda. People switch around from time to time, but like the a very big chunk of the crew of the third season was did like a couple of shows before Professor T together. So that's why it really baffled me too when I got there, because it was like my first project. Um, they were so yeah, tuned in with each other, and I hadn't seen that before, and it was really enjoyable to work with them.
Yeah, I found that with this team, and we had another team for the first two seasons.
Yeah.
And they were the very same. They had all worked with each other before. They all knew each other very well, and they were asked back. I think we had more or less exactly the same team from season 1 to season 2.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen before.
Mm.
And it's so nice. It just means that, well, I can only speak for myself, but I became very comfortable on set very quickly. Wasn't because I became their friends as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's just really nice. There is a pressure that falls away when everybody's just friends.
Yeah.
To be honest, and it means that you can also take risks acting wise and not feel so stupid or for me anyway, anxious about trying something. If it doesn't work, then it's like, okay, never mind, we'll just retake, it's fine. I think there's a trust. I think that's what I'm getting at, is that there's a trust between the crew because they know each other so well, and that vibe then I suppose is emitted towards us, the actors, and we feel safe.
Yeah, I really felt that there was like a very familiar relationship between you guys and the crew, because like the third season was mostly a new crew, but I still felt like everyone was quite familiar with each other, and like you I felt like you and Barney and Andy and Ben were really comfortable on that set, and that's a nice feeling, that everyone's like on the same level.
Yeah, I agree. We're really lucky to work with you guys, honestly. Honestly.
We're really lucky to work with you guys. I was like, I got there with Josse, my chef.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, I still need an assistant for Professor T, and I was like, oh yeah, I am looking for a job, so that'd be great. And then it dawned on me like, oh my god, I've been watching Ben Miller since I was 5 years old, and I've seen with the Johnny English films.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my god, and then Frances de la Tour, who was in Harry Potter, in Goblet of Fire, that was also something. So like I was doing a little research about you guys, about the cast, and I was like, oh my god, that's gonna be my first project. That's crazy, with such talent. Yeah, it was an amazing experience, and like I really had a lot of fun. I'm doing sets now where I think back on Professor T and really reminisce about how nice that was.
I hadn't realized that that was your first project.
Yeah, yeah. I've been graduated for like um a little more than a year. So
Hey.
that yeah, it was my first project. Um,
How did you find the role then? As in, because were you, was your responsibility to tell the figuratis what to do, or did you also have to source them? Like, did you have to find them?
you also had to find them, and then I was actually mainly Josse's assistant on set.
Okay.
So I had to welcome them on set and like make sure they fill in a document so they get paid properly and they um nothing happens to them on set and stuff and like an agreement. I need to take care of that, and then I am mostly with them. And when Josse asked me to bring me 10 people with like that role, then I had to bring those people. And then if the figuratie room was empty, I helped Josse on set to direct them if there were like
Right.
more than 10 or 20. So yeah, it was like mainly as a assistant for Josse, but Josse has been a very good friend of mine for a pretty long time, so we worked quite well together. And
Yeah.
like now I'm doing more of Josse's job on other projects.
Nice.
Yeah.
And had you done anything like that before then when you were studying? Or
No, no, I did a lot of sound when I was studying, but I didn't want to do it anymore after studying because I thought I was quite okay at it, but like not good enough to really excel in it. And I really, really wanted to write after school, but it's very difficult to just be graduated and then instantly starting on a show or in a writer's room. Like you kind of have to prove that you can write, and like the right people need to read your work, and then um, that stuff gets going. But that didn't really happen for me when I just graduated. So I was just looking for work on sets, and then Josse came with that proposal, and I was like, yeah, of course I want to do that. Uh, yeah. But do you? Yeah, you told me you did 5 years of acting on stage, but I wish I said something about that in the introduction, but I couldn't find anything online about like which productions you were in.
yeah, I suppose not because it's all IMDb, isn't it, on Google and things like that.
Yeah, and I was looking, but I didn't find anything because I was like, Emma has surely done some stage work, but I just didn't find anything.
Okay, well, as I said, yeah, my first job was the Crucible. That was at Bristol Old Vic. And then I did a couple of bits in London. There's a West End theatre called the Wyndham's Theatre. And I think yeah, I did a lot of understudying in that
Hmm.
for a play called Don Juan in Soho that was directed by Patrick Marber, who's like one of my favorite directors.
All right.
And then I worked with him again at the Pinter at the Pinter in a play called The Room.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't want to sort of like read out my CV, but basically I did quite a bit of regional theatre. So I did Leeds, which was lovely, Bristol, Manchester, and then I did a few plays in London as
Hmm.
well.
All right.
Yeah, and that's sort of where the passion is anyway
Yeah.
for the acting. And I'm very new, like I said, to screen, and well, we're always learning, but I'm really learning a lot, and the medium is different. So I think I'll be learning it for quite some time, but it's great.
Yeah, I think you're amazing. Like in both the like the first season I saw and like when I saw you acting on set, I was always like, yeah, that's a really good actress. But But do you is there something you I no I'm not gonna ask you that because that's a difficult thing to answer. But um, would you like to go further in mainly in for the screen or in theater?
This is a difficult one. I always wanted to do screen. I've always wanted to do screen. I am surprised by my love of theatre because I didn't think that that is what I wanted to do when I first started drama school.
Yeah,
But it is where the craft is if you want to be a better actor.
yeah,
It's, and it's just there's a luxury of time with theatre
no,
that you just can't get
hmm,
unless you're working with a director who rehearses as if TV is a play or
yeah,
film is a play. There's just things that I guess you can't find when you're doing a play. When I'm doing a play, anyway, you might be in run number 50, and suddenly a line makes sense. And you're,
yeah,
oh my God, that's what it was. That's what it is. And then you find it, and you're always developing. Whereas sometimes, especially with the continuity,
hmm,
you might find something that finally makes sense on take number 6, but it's almost too late because
yeah,
I already did something that made no sense. I remember one of the very first scenes that I filmed as Lisa and Professor T. I
hmm,
did something so mad with my elbows. It just made no sense. And I think it was probably because I was feeling really nervous and I
hmm,
felt like I was under all this pressure, but it was in the master shot and I just couldn't change it.
yeah,
And I'm sure there are ways to make your new idea work when you're in the close, but you've already filmed it a million times
hmm,
in a two shot and then in a master. But I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. And I'm on my way to figuring it out. So, yeah, to answer your question, I think it's more that I feel comfortable on stage.
hmm,
I feel comfortable failing. I feel comfortable learning, growing, rehearsing, knowing that I'm scratching away at the layers of the play and the
yeah,
character journey. I want to be excellent
hmm,
on screen. That's what I want. Um, I accept that the journey to get there is going to be a little different.
yeah, hmm,
But good
yeah.
film can change your life, I think.
Yeah, I think yeah, but like, do you mean watching a good film or being in a good film?
I'm watching a good film,
Yeah, yeah,
watching
but
a really well made film.
I think that's the same with theater though. Like when it's just with all storytelling, when something really hits you and hits you deep, then yeah, you change. But with yeah, film is a little more comfortable and compact because you can just watch it at home and like with theater you really need to be there, but that also amplifies the effect, I think.
Yes, I think film is, well, and TV is probably a bit more accessible than theatre for a lot of people. Um,
Mm,
Gaming too, though. I think there's some great
yeah,
storytelling games, really.
absolutely. Yeah.
And the level of detail that goes into the research on some of these projects is just
Mm.
unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now.
Ooh, amazing. Yeah, I've never played that, but it looks great.
Is okay, first of all, it's a stunning game.
Yeah.
It's stunning. I don't know, every 5 minutes you're just wandering on your horse and you come across this incredible landscape. And then I saw on Instagram that they're not exaggerating with these colors and the nature and Japan actually looks like that.
Wow.
It's incredible. But
Yeah.
also they have all these artifacts that you can find. And journals that you stumble across, and it's teaching you about certain artifacts and the way of life of maybe the Mongolian Empire back then, or villages in Japan back then. And it's just so immersive, I think.
Yeah. I've been recently, like not recently. I've always been immersed in that, but I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring.
Oh, isn't that really difficult?
Elden Ring's okay actually. Like the problem with the Souls games and Sekiro and Bloodborne is that when you're stuck somewhere, when you're stuck on a boss, and you're like, I can't beat that boss, then you just have to quit because you can't do anything else. You just have to learn the boss and kill it. But with Elden Ring, if you get stuck on a boss, there's a humongous open world to explore and get stronger and level up, find new weapons and upgrade those weapons. Um, so yeah, Elden Ring is much more accessible than those other games.
Oh.
So definitely worth a shot. But it's funny that you start about games because I've got some questions about some other questions about games because Andy told me you're such a dedicated gamer.
Oh my God, yeah, I actually heard that podcast.
Yeah, right.
Yes, I was so happy. I mean, I haven't played the game that Andy voiced,
That's Dark Souls. Dark Souls 1 and 2.
but Dark Souls is a big deal. I don't think Andy realizes how big of a deal that is.
Yeah, he does it because I it was in Hasselt when we were shooting in like a courtroom context. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but maybe I'll cut
No,
that
I think that's
out.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
All right. And I went to Andy and I checked his IMDb before and I was like, oh my God, you were in Dark Souls. And he was like, oh, no one's ever said that to me. I don't really know what that is. I've never played it before. And then I explained him a little bit how that works. And yeah, he really doesn't know how much of a big deal that is.
yeah, and you read the reviews of his vocal work. I thought that was so nice. Yeah, that was great. I hope he does more games. He should get
Yeah,
stuck in, I think.
because this character is really iconic. I've been playing Dark Souls 1 again, and I like my mom came into my room to tell me something, and I didn't remember, but I walked into the room where you find Andy's character, and I talked to him, and I was like, "Mom, that's Andy. That's just Andy
Oh,
from
wow.
and she thought that was very funny. Uh, but you also did voice work for Forza Horizon.
I did, yeah, I did.
And
I did voice work, and I did a little bit of work as a character.
all right.
Yeah, so I was in it's called a volume, I think,
Mhm.
the playing space where you actually do these little scenettes. I did a couple of days doing that, which was awesome.
Yeah, this with all the little tennis balls on your body,
Yeah,
motion capture,
yeah. I don't think I had tennis balls on me.
or
I
maybe that's more efficient now.
No, I think for some games they have it. I actually can't distinguish what the tennis balls do as opposed to not having the tennis balls. But I'm pretty sure I didn't have the tennis balls on. I think they had little like white spots instead.
Yeah, I've seen that before. It's probably yeah, I think that's the tennis balls is something in the past when motion capture wasn't as accessible yet.
Mm. I wish I could find a picture now, but I can't. Anyway, I was so gassed. That means excited. Do you have gassed in Belgium? So excited to have done it. I thought it was really cool, and I want to do more.
Or in Belgium.
More gaming,
Yeah,
more
more
like
gaming, yeah.
more being in games.
Yeah, but I think it's getting bigger and bigger. Like cutscenes are getting more more well made and bigger, and like a lot of games right now are just cutscenes with a little gameplay in between. Like I was playing Jedi Survivor recently, and I was like, oh, this is just a playable movie. It's like there's sometimes there's combat, but like there's a lot of cutscenes.
Do you like that or not?
Mm, not always. If it's like a lot of video games are have a huge budget, but the budget goes to the wrong things, I think. Like making it visually perfect and like um making it visually as stunning as possible. But I just need a good gameplay loop. That's like where you start, right?
Yeah.
Like
What about Last of Us? Have you played that?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really like the second one too. I know that's a controversial opinion, but I really did like it.
Why is it controversial? Right.
Because like two things happen in that game. One thing happens in the very beginning, and the second thing happens at the halfway point. So I think you know what I'm talking about.
Okay, the halfway point. Halfway point.
There's a switch that happens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it because a lot of people are invested in the show right now, and
Right.
they have no idea what's gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's like perfect. I think it's a perfect game. I think the cinematics totally move the story forward without taking away from the gameplay, which is also astonishing. And can we talk about game one?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when we switch from playing Joel to playing Ellie, and then you have to relearn how to fight because she physically can't do the same things that Joel can.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's stroke of genius.
Absolutely, it's so original because you as a player feel like Ellie at that moment. She's like pretty powerless and she needs to find her own way to survive. And
Yeah,
then you do, it's so satisfying.
yeah. I honestly feel like it's one of the, if not the best game I've ever played. Last
Yeah,
of Us 2.
yeah. With me, it's like the Dark Souls franchise that's like the on top for me. But yeah, I can imagine it's definitely one of the most profound storytelling experiences I've had in a video game. But there was something else. I'm looking at my gaming closet right now, like where all my video games are. Yeah. Have you ever played Resident Evil 4 or the remake?
No, I haven't, because
Oh, really
that's
good.
apart from Last of Us, before this, I wouldn't play any kind of scary games.
Yeah.
No. And I think that's true of a lot of my friends. Like being jump scared by zombies was not my thing before this. So
Yeah.
no, I actually think I probably missed out on a lot of good games because I was too scared.
Yeah, like the Resident Evil 4 is actually not that scary because it's always in the daylight, and there are zombies, but they're not that scary. Um, and they yeah, it's more of an action game with a very goofy story. It's like an 80s B horror action movie. Uh,
Okay.
and I really enjoyed those. So I love Resident Evil 4. And the first Resident Evil is just a classic. It's like with the changing camera perspectives. Um, and it's also a real gem to play right now because it's right now it's like 20 years old. Even the remake is 20 years old. And it still plays really smoothly.
Mm. So sorry to let's just geek out for a second. So
Yeah,
are you
absolutely.
playing the remake or are you playing the original on the original console?
I like with the first Resident Evil, I never played the original because you need a very old PS1 for it, and
Yeah.
hadn't been born for a few years when that came out.
Oh my God, you're so young.
Yeah,
Serious. Okay. All right.
I actually have no idea how old you are. Like I tried to figure it out with when you graduated and stuff. But I thought you were way younger than that, so I won't say what I think for the audience,
That's
because
so funny.
some people get offended by that. Uh, but no, I played the remake of one because it got a remaster on the PS4, and I played it on PS4. But
Ah, okay, cool.
Resident Evil 4 got was originally from 2005 on the GameCube, I think.
Yeah,
And
you were
that
around for that, right?
yeah, but I didn't have a GameCube because I was
Okay.
5 back then. Um yeah,
Hilarious.
I'm from 99.
Okay.
um and yeah, then I played the original Resident Evil 4 on the Wii because the Wii also had it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like pointing your gun with your Wiimote. What
Oh,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
funny. But I also sucked at it at aiming, so I got hard locked out of my game save, which means like I literally didn't have enough ammo to pass a room. So there were a lot of enemies, and my ammo always ran out. So I had to restart the entire game because I couldn't get past that, and I had
That's
to conserve
insane.
my ammunition more. uh,
Insane.
and now there's also a remake of 4 that came out earlier this year, and it's graphically it looks amazing, and it plays very smoothly. So it's a really good game.
On the Xbox One.
Yeah, and PS5. I
Oh,
think maybe only PS5 and Xbox Series X.
okay, okay.
So yeah, but what are some other games you like? Because you made me curious.
I was obsessed with Tekken.
Mm.
I am currently holding the title of beta of all my friends at Tekken. No one beats me at Tekken.
Oh my
No
God.
one beats me at Tekken. But I also take it very, very personally, like very personally. If I were to ever come close to losing. So
Hey.
now I just don't play. I don't play because I guess it's not fun for anyone. It's not fun. But I know basically all the combos for Eddie Gordo.
Mm-hmm.
And one time I played someone who knew also all the combos for Eddie Gordo as well. And we were doing the same moves at the same time and knocking each other out in the same way.
Wow.
And so they would win, then I would win, and they would win, and I would win. That was close. But yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I can't really tell whether people are just being nice because they know I'm gonna be very upset if I lose. But look, I don't think that's the case. I think I'm actually really good.
Can
Need
imagine.
for Speed. Need for Speed I really enjoyed back then. It was on the PS2 or 3. Need for Speed Most Wanted, I think, was on the PS2.
Yeah, I think so too.
All the Tomb Raider games.
Yeah, also the remakes, the new ones.
Yeah, I like them. I like them. I think I enjoyed it a little better around the PS2 stage.
Yeah.
PS1 is very, very old, very, very pointy, and like the graphics are, she kind of looks like a running square.
Yeah.
But I think they found a really nice, the classic Lara Croft that went alongside the Angelina Jolie movies. That was, for me, the golden era of Tomb Raider. And I think they've had to go where they've gone with it. And she's very soft right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're building her back up to
Yeah.
who she becomes. And I will always love the games. I will always love them. But I think I preferred it when she was already a badass.
Yeah, me too. Because like I played Rise of the Tomb Raider, I think. I didn't play
Yeah.
the other two. And I thought it was like Uncharted, but not as good as Uncharted. And it was like not written very well. She was like because it's weird when she and it's very difficult to fix that problem because it's a video game, but it's weird that she um like as a player, you kill so many people in that game, and
Mm.
there's a cutscene, and she kills a guy, and she's like, she needs to recover from that for like 2 days.
Yeah. Was that not the first kill though? That's like when she's very, very young and she's not killed anyone before, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, but then afterwards you kill like loads of people, and then
Yeah.
it feels a little strange or something.
Mm.
Understand it? It's a very I wouldn't know how to fix that problem, but it's something that I noticed, and I was like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point that you've made, and I think it's hard to reconcile because we also have known her as a killer of many people up until this point. So it's jarring for us as an audience that we've gone, hold on, we know her to be this, and we've known her to be this for like 20 years before now.
Hmm.
And we have to accept this brand new story. I think it's good though. Like I think it's good to explore all the facets of who Lara can be because I feel
Yeah.
like she's going to be around for a very long time still.
Yeah, absolutely. And those games showed her or more of her vulnerable side, which is also very important to develop her as a character, of course. But
Yeah.
yeah, like there were a few things about those, like the first game, the Rise of the Tomb Raider, that bothered me a little bit. Like it took um the, a few too many like modern storytelling things that don't really work for me, or something like evolution of a character that just happens because the plot needs it to happen, and not from like organic character moments or something. But yeah, that's I have opinions about that stuff.
Yeah. I think there is a new one coming out, so let's see what that says.
Yeah,
Shadow
yeah.
was good. Shadow of Tomb Raider was
All
good.
right. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I need to play those again, because I think I played the that Rise of the Tomb Raider like maybe 10 years ago. So I think I'll give them another shot.
Yeah, give him another go.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna ask how much time do you have? Because that depends on.
I've got time.
All right, cool. Then yeah, I'm still curious about what you like to play, like other
What I
games.
like to play.
Yeah.
Okay, so oh my God, have you played any of the Telltale games?
Yeah, I played first Walking Dead.
Walking. Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of the most incredible games I have ever played in my life. Decision making wise,
Mm.
I've never seen a game with so many outcomes, so many nuanced story journeys. I think I've played that game maybe like 4 or 5 times, just making different decisions.
All right.
And the
That's
first
amazing.
time, yeah, the first time I played it, so you're playing this guy, Lee, who's for the audience, if they don't know what we're talking about. You're playing a young man, middling-aging man called Lee, who finds himself looking after this girl in a world full of zombies, trying to get her. I think they're trying to get to a boat, are they? She's lost
Yeah.
her parents. They're trying to find their way to some safe haven, and they have to find this boat eventually. But on the way there, you have to make all these decisions, and you only have maybe 5 seconds to make your decision,
Mm.
whether it's a conversation or a really big decision about whether you go left or right, or whether you save this person or that person. And all those decisions have consequences in the game. And if you play as if it's really you making these decisions,
Mm.
the outcome is heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And I think if you just play it arbitrarily, it's not the same. If you just go, oh, I'm going to do this and see what happens, it's not the
Yeah.
same.
You really have to be invested and like be the character or something. And
Yeah.
also, that game has one of the most anxiety-inducing features I've ever seen. It's like the little line in like the top left corner of the screen. Clementine will remember this.
Yes. Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I was always like, no, fuck, reload my save, reload my
Yeah.
save.
And sometimes when you run out of time,
Yeah.
it goes, Clementine remembers that you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Tom noticed you said nothing.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's I think it's a really cool way of gaming. I think that one is the best one, Walking Dead 1.
Yeah.
2 and 3 are also good. And some of the Telltale, the Batmans are good
Yeah.
as well. Have you played those?
I haven't played those, but I think I watched a playthrough of them once. And I really, yeah, it was a good Batman story. Because there are so many Batman stories and like so many good ones too. So it's kind of an achievement that's all so good. But I did play Tales from the Borderlands, also from
Oh,
Telltale.
you did. Yeah, okay. I didn't play that one. I downloaded it and I always get to one point and then I just stop playing.
Yeah, I also had that with that game. It's like in the middle of episode 2 somewhere
Yeah.
playing. Because I'm invested and then it meanders a little bit too long or something, and then I'm like, I want to play something else. But I was a very, very big Borderlands fan around the Borderlands 2 days, and yeah, so I was excited for that. But I do think Telltale has made some better games than that storytelling wise.
I agree. I
Mm.
agree. They have one that I think the development stopped for some reason, but it was these fairy tale characters. I can't remember what it's called.
The Wolf Among Us,
The
I
Wolf
think.
Among Us. The Wolf Among Us. That's the one. Where they're all sort of in this dingy version of New York
Mm.
City, and they are not doing well. The characters are not doing well, and yeah, that was a really good game. And the second one was meant to come out, I
Yeah.
mean, so many times, and it still hasn't. I think it's due next year now.
Ah, right, because didn't Telltale go bankrupt?
I think they did.
Yeah,
I
but
think
Tales
they
from the
did.
Borderlands is also still going. Like this, the second season came out last year, I think. So
Which
the
one?
Tales from the Borderlands, but I think then Gearbox took it over from them. But I'm not sure. I'm gonna check.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
um, yeah, their website is still online.
I mean, the
Ah,
artwork for it looks great. I think they might, hopefully, they might
maybe
do something.
they've been bought by another company, and that's why they still exist.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're living in Fabletown, and you're the sheriff, the big bad wolf. You have to
Mm.
investigate these murders. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope that they bring it out because I've been waiting for like 2 years.
Yeah, the Wolf Among Us is also something I watched the playthrough for and didn't actually play it, but I really need to pick that up. But like another franchise I rediscovered last year, I think, is Mass Effect. It also has like the same features with dialogue options.
Okay, I don't know anything about Mass Effect.
It's like it's a little space opera ish. It's not as fantasy, like it's not hard fantasy like Star Wars, but it's like more, if you think Star Trek, but with more like alien races and more politics. That's
Oh,
Mass Effect basically. And the fun thing about that is you play with one character for all three games, and if you have like the collection, you can play the first one and then transfer the save from the first one to the second one, and then all your choices are saved. So all of your relationships with all the different races and characters, they build upon that instead of starting those again. So
that's right.
you can get to the third game and like resolve a plot line that started in the first one. Even though it's like it started with a little side quest in the first one and became something really big in the third one. In the third one. So that's also a big recommendation. Those are really good games.
Okay, Mass Effect.
Yeah. All
On
right.
the list.
But maybe we can go to our film of the week, The Green Mile.
Yes.
I was so happy you proposed that because you proposed a lot of films and like it's a shame the first one you proposed was a Girl Interrupted because I would have loved doing that, but I literally did that last week.
That's fine.
So so yeah, that's unfortunate. But I had never seen The Green Mile.
You'd
Uh,
never seen it. Oh
Nope.
wow.
So yeah,
My God. Brand new viewer.
yep. So why did you choose this one?
I chose it because it was a film that really affected me. I thought it was beautifully acted, and I keep going back to it. I find that I keep going back to this film because a lot of the questions that I had about it, I never answered. And I guess you have to draw your own conclusions about who exactly John Coffey is. But
Mm,
also, I think it comments on our capacity for cruelty as humans really well and very delicately, but also the kindness that's available to us. I don't know. I read the book and I don't know whether they explore it in the film, but there's this idea that John Coffey might be an angel. Did you?
I have a different theory about that because
Interesting.
it's a Stephen King story, so I think he just has The Shining, and they see it as him being an angel because he they're in a very religious context in a very religious area. But I think John Coffey just has The Shining, like Ewan McGregor in Doctor Sleep, and like some characters in It, because it's like a running theme in all Stephen King stories. Like every character with special supernatural powers, um, technically has The Shining.
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't know too much about that because I definitely haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, and I haven't seen, what was the Ewan McGregor film that you mentioned?
Doctor Sleep. It's the sequel of The Shining.
Ah, okay, yeah, no. Well, I'm not as well read in the Stephen King as I should be, but I found it to be an incredibly moving film,
Hmm.
incredibly moving, and there's something about the capacity for love that John Coffey has, but he's so lonely and no one understands him and no one wants to see him for what he actually is.
Hmm.
Well, to me, a not of this world, incredibly kind being
Hmm.
is totally innocent of what he's been accused of. And there's that scene where I don't know how much we should say. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
pretty well-known film,
can
right?
spoil it. It's the movie is as old as I am, so we can definitely spoil it.
Yeah. When Paul Edgecombe knows that he has to he has to execute John, and he says, "How am I supposed to reconcile myself to God if I kill you, knowing that you haven't done what you've been accused of?" And
Mhm.
he says that he can feel all the pain in the world, and it's like pieces of glass in his head, and he doesn't want to live. I've always remembered that.
Mhm.
I mean, there are so many excellent scenes in that film. I
Yeah.
don't think you miss one. And I think the acting across the board is first rate. I don't know how they made a film like this. And even I was watching it again, and the music, just the little, like the tinkle
Yeah.
whenever the mouse is around, and yeah, there's just so much more nuance to that film that if I had studied other parts of film, I think
Mhm.
I would really enjoy, and I don't know enough of to um, say anything coherent or smart about it. But I think everything seems to work together
Mhm. Yeah,
seamlessly.
absolutely. And you don't feel bored for a second, even though it's yeah,
Yeah.
3 hours long, basically. 3 hours and
Yeah.
it's even.
And something that I noticed this time around was that they really caught the heat.
Hmm.
Like you could tell it was a hot place constantly all the time.
Yeah, and everyone's very sweaty all the time.
Yeah, very, very sweaty all the time. I really like that.
Yeah, me too. The film has a really good vibe. Like the you really feel what you're supposed to feel as an audience, I think.
Mm.
Because it's so, yeah, how can I describe it? It's shot in such a deliberate way, and like it's being lit in such a deliberate way, because it reminded me when we were shooting in a prison, in a prison somewhere in Belgium for some project we might have both worked on. um it's a prison, like the inside of a prison has a very distinct atmosphere that's
Mm.
very difficult to capture. It's very like you said it was hot, but it feels very cold when you're watching it. So it's yeah, very unique atmosphere they captured for the Green Mile.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really really liked that. And I think yeah, Frank Darabont, the director, he also did the Shawshank Redemption 5 years before that.
Ah, yeah.
And I think he did learn there how to shoot a prison.
Yeah. That's also a wonderful film. I
Yeah,
think
it
I
was.
actually think both of them are on the top 5 films that you have to see before you die.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. They're also both Stephen King adaptations.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's
So
right.
the short story.
Yeah, and they were both, I can't remember about Shawshank, but they're written episodically, aren't they? He
Uh,
didn't know how the Green Mile was going to end when he wrote it. He wrote them as little short stories.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Stephen King thinks this is like back then he thought this was the most faithful adaptation ever made about one of his books. So
Yes.
he was very happy with this.
Yes. And I also would say it's one of the rare books that I've read that the film does justice to the book. Because you're
Hmm.
always, whenever you read a book and it becomes a film, you're always comparing, you're always feeling like they missed out something really important or something. And I didn't feel that with the Green Mile at all. I think they were both on par with each other.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I haven't read the book unfortunately, but I can imagine, like, because the film is so long. I think there aren't any details left out from the book.
Yeah. And we're grateful for that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, I also expected this to be very heavy, like the because the subject matter is very heavy, and like I thought it was like was gonna be a tearjerker, and it kind of was, but it also wasn't. Like the it's a very light-hearted film most of the time, actually. I
Mm.
thought. And I really didn't expect that, and I really liked that about it because I
Yeah.
could rewatch this tomorrow and like not I can look forward to it and not be like, oh no, this moment's coming, oh this is so difficult to get through or something, except when Dell gets fried.
That's
That's
horrible.
horrifying. But yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff. There's like justice being served to
Yes.
what's his name, the asshole guards who got
Oh
them
yeah.
killed at the end.
Oh God. Does
I,
it? Whitmore. Percy Whitmore.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's actually a very fun film to watch, I think.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say it was fun, but I think that the characters have to have a sense of lightness and almost humor working in such a dreary, dreary place. And they say it to Percy. Well, Paul Edgecombe, that's Tom Hanks's character, says that you have to keep these people calm. This needs to be a calm place because of where these men are eventually going. And
Mhm.
I definitely felt that they try not to be heavy if they can avoid it. And yeah, that totally then translates, or that we can feel that as an audience as well, that it's not all doom and gloom all the time.
Yeah, because
Moments when they hit, they really hit.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because the film really does go out of its way to be very very horrific sometimes. But yeah, I still I was really really enjoying it, and I expected like have you ever watched the Lars von Trier film?
No.
The Lars von Trier has made is very controversial director, and he has made Melancholia, Antichrist, Nymphomaniac 1 and 2.
Ah, yeah, I've seen Nymphomaniac, the first one.
Yeah, like those films are very um, they're not necessarily difficult to get through, but they really challenge you. Like they really challenge you to keep watching, and they are very bleak and very depressing. And I I also kind of expected that with this, and it wasn't. So that was a very very big surprise. But what do I have more? Yeah, it's a very it gives a very nuanced image of death row and doesn't really feel that threatening or something. Like you
Yeah,
said before.
yeah. It seems that the men, the guards, offer a lot of grace to
Mhm.
the well, to the people on death row,
Yeah.
knowing where they're going, and I think that's to do with the fact that they seem to all be Christian as well.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
and something that I picked up on this time that I didn't pick up on last time, maybe I was too young or something, but that it's all set during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
That so that when a job is threatened, that's a big thing. And
Hmm.
Nazi is going around really using his privilege and his connections to threaten people's jobs when there just aren't any. And so the fact that all these men then are willing to risk their livelihood
Hmm.
to protect John Coffey is a way bigger statement than it is at any other time, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it just raises the stakes even more, which is very clever from Mr. Stephen King.
It is.
Michael Clark Duncan, who plays John Coffey, um, also like when he had to get emotional, which happens a lot in the film.
Yeah.
Uh, he seemingly recalled his father leaving him as a child for that's something I read on like the IMDb trivia. But that's really heartbreaking, actually.
Yeah, that is heartbreaking. May he rest in peace. He's gone.
Yeah,
And that was I think his first film that he ever did.
I think no, he did Armageddon first.
Ah, okay, he
Uh,
did.
Frank Darabont or Tom Cruise was good friends with Bruce Willis, and they were looking for someone to play this role. And Bruce Willis was like, "Oh, Michael Clark Duncan is like the perfect man to do this."
Okay, my bad, my bad.
So
But
actually,
he
Bruce
was
Willis gave
wonderful.
us this man in this role, which is pretty crazy.
Say that again?
That Bruce Willis is the reason that he got to play this role, and I think
Yeah.
that's very funny.
Yeah, no, that was, yeah, I was totally wrong about that. Totally couldn't be more wrong. But yeah,
No, no, no.
honestly, he was just so good. And there's a real sense of innocence, I think, about John, which is so heartbreaking because
Hmm.
all he wants to do is take away the pain in the world, and he can't. It's just too much. It's too ugly.
Hmm. Yeah, what I also really liked is that the film kind of gives you a red herring in the beginning when he's saying like I was too late, I couldn't take it back.
Yeah,
Um, and you think I couldn't take back killing them, but
yeah,
he meant that in the context of he couldn't take back their deaths or like their pain because Sam Rockwell actually did it.
yeah, yeah. That was the first time I'd seen Sam Rockwell in anything as well.
Hmm.
When I had originally seen it. He's a great actor, isn't he? I mean, they all. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But like Sam Rockwell, it has been so underrated for such a long time, I think.
Mm,
Because every time he's used by someone like what's his name again? The director of Banshees of Inisherin and In Bruges. Um yeah. Yeah. I feel the same way right now. Oh god. Martin McDonough.
Martin McDonough.
Every time he uses him, it's like genius. He's so good.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, Michael Clark Duncan was also made bigger by the Force Perspective. That's how they also made the Hobbit small in the Lord of the Rings. That's kind of the same camera trick. Um, by making things around him smaller and always going for a low angle. When placing the camera, but it really works. It looks huge in the film.
He
Well,
does.
actually, not that much bigger than Tom Hanks.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't know that. I thought he was. So one of the characters is meant to be the tallest character on the block.
Hmm.
The actor's name is David Morse, but I think he played someone, Brutus Howell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I thought that maybe those two actors were similar height, except Michael is
Mhm.
like much physically muscular, wider, bigger than him. But no, okay.
Hmm.
I really like the way that they did the what would you call it? The physicalization of the evil coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
don't really know what it is. We never really get an explanation for what that stuff is.
Hmm.
Tiny moth type things, but I really sort of like that they are not your interpretation of what that is and what my interpretation is
Hmm.
is going to be completely different because we can't really see what they are and we never really get to. They come with that sound. It's a
Yeah. It's
like
like
gentle
bees or
insect.
something.
What did you say?
It's like bees or something. I thought it was bees.
Yeah, I really like that we never really get an explanation for what that is.
Hmm.
That's something that's lived with me anyway for a very long time. Even if you try to describe that, what those things are to someone, you're never going to be able to.
Yeah, because how do you remember how King described it in the book?
I thought he said tiny insects, tiny little insects.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I'm not certain because it's been so long since I read it that my mind could just be misremembering. But I would actually really like to read the book again now.
Yeah, me too, actually. Uh, yeah, because I think I've only read one Stephen King book in my life, and that's a book that's never been adapted before. So, and I also didn't think it was particularly special or something. Yeah, I thought it was good, but it wasn't like one of the greats.
Right.
Um, I have one more trivia thing. Tom Hanks had to turn down the main character role in The Shawshank Redemption because he had to play Forrest Gump, and the shooting schedules overlapped. So Darabont cast him as a main character here, as a sorry, basically.
Well, I mean, that's fine. He got Oscars for both, didn't he?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think, yeah, I don't think if Tom Hanks would have worked as well as Tim Robbins in The Shawshank Redemption.
We'll never know.
We will never know.
They're both excellent. What is really cool now is on Amazon Prime,
Hmm.
if you play the film, I don't know whether this is a new feature, but if you pause, they will give you trivia throughout the film about
Yeah,
this scene. I've never seen that before.
yeah. Was it on Prime with you? Because
Yeah, I watched it on Prime.
right, it's not included on Prime with me. It's like available to rent or buy. Um, so I watched it in another way.
Okay.
I found a DVD in like the secondhand store.
Okay. Well, I had paused it on the bit where John Coffey touches Paul Edgecombe for the first time when
Mhm.
he's trying to cure his urinary
Yeah,
issue.
yeah, when he
And
really assaults him, basically.
yeah, and I paused it. I can't remember why. Anyway, so it came up with this fact that said that Michael Clark Duncan was uncomfortable with grabbing Tom Hanks's crotch. So
Mhm.
Tom Hanks put a bottle there, a water bottle there, so that he would feel better about it.
Nice.
And he wouldn't have to physically touch him. I thought that was cool. I
Yeah, yeah, it
like
is.
little snippets. I like that feature.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really fun. It's like watching a making of or something, but you
Yeah.
have to pause the movie every single scene. Um, Wait. Yeah, are there any other Stephen King adaptations that you like? You're not the biggest horror fan, I can
Mm.
imagine.
No, I'm not the biggest horror fan. I stopped watching horror films when I think after The Grudge.
Yeah, that's really, really fucked up.
Yeah, and I used to really like being scared before then, but then sometimes I thought I would see The Grudge in like the door
Yeah, or like under your sheets.
or sheets, and so I just stopped watching them after that. And Stephen King horrors are really good, so I don't want to be genuinely scared.
Yeah, like I think there are a lot of adaptations like Carrie or Christine of his work, like older adaptations that aren't really that scary anymore, but are still very, very good. Like Carrie is a really good film, uh,
Mm.
and Christine also is, but it's a little sleazier.
Well, what's your favorite?
Oh, what's my favorite? That's a very difficult question. There are
Yeah.
so many of them. Um, because there are
Or
also a lot of bad ones. But I don't know. Maybe pure quality wise, it's maybe Shawshank Redemption. But I love The Shining. even though it's not the best adaptation of the book, it's really more of a Stanley Kubrick film than than an adaptation. Um, but yeah, I would say Shawshank maybe, and like it's from 2017 is also really good, and Gerald's Game on Netflix. That's a smaller one about Carla Gugino chained to a bed because she wants to do some kinky stuff with her husband, but her husband gets a heart attack and he dies on top of her, and she can't leave, and like there's no one around that can hear her call out, so she needs to get out of there, and that's the entire movie.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's You finished that? You
Yeah,
finished
I
it?
did. It's really good. It's like it does very much with very little.
Okay. That does sound like it's worth a watch.
Yeah, and it's not that scary. Like some moments kind of catch you off guard, but if you have a partner to watch them with, it's okay. Like if you can like hide from the scary stuff, then it'll be fine.
Yeah.
um, yeah. So is there any more stuff you want to say about the film, or like why you like it? Like some things you want to point out?
I wrote a couple of things about it because I always find it's difficult to remember your impressions like on the spot. But I think I've mentioned most of them. I thought it was gentle in the way that it brought you into the story.
Mm,
I When the first miracle happens, I think it's like an hour and 15 minutes in, and
yep.
usually for a film, it you would establish something like that much earlier.
Mm,
I was just, and maybe you can say something on this because you're a writer, because I wouldn't know, but I just felt that we were gently being brought along. Nothing was too fast.
mm,
All the characters were so rich and well thought out, both in the playing of it by the actors and the writing of it. I didn't feel like there was any moment that was underserved, and I felt that I knew everyone in the ensemble
yeah.
well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's like not a single side character that's put aside or something. Like everyone gets their time to shine, and I think every character is played and written very nuanced. And I really like. I think Michael Clark Duncan also gets introduced after like maybe an hour or 45 minutes, while the like the main plot of the film is about him. So yeah, I think it's very well done, and I wasn't bothered by any um pacing issues or something, because everything was so interesting all the
Mm.
time that it didn't really matter how slow it went, and like every scene had a very clear goal and a very clear conflict within it, which also makes it easier to be patient to get to the meat of the film.
Yeah, I think it's been adapted really well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And I guess the other thing that, yeah, I would like to say is probably about the character Percy Whitmore.
hmm
So that actor, Doug Hutchinson, I think, was very brave in his portrayal of that character, because that character is just unredeemable and unforgiving in his cruelty at not every opportunity, but most opportunities. He's awful, and the I just felt that he didn't shy away from it. I think sometimes as actors we want to explain why someone is the way that they are, or bring in a softness so that they're more likable. And I feel that it's hard to fully commit to just wanting to cause someone pain because that's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he does that. He did that. He achieved that goal very, very well.
And
Very well.
yeah, and not in like a mustache twirling way or something. Like
Yeah,
not in
exactly.
the shade way or like a way you've seen before necessarily. It's like I thought it was very novel, like such an evil character who's like because he deceives them at one point, right? With the mouse.
Yeah.
That he's like nice to the mouse and he's like you swaddle it in a little cloth and like make a little house for it and then when he kicks it um he yeah he like built that up to let Dell have a relationship with the mouse to then kill the mouse an hour before Dell gets executed to make him
Yeah.
feel even worse, and that's maybe one of the most evil things I've ever seen in a film.
Well, even worse than that is when he says there's no mouseville right before he kills him.
Hmm.
Before he kills Hell. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah,
Because he kills the mouse, then the mouse doesn't die,
yeah,
and then he kills Mouse Heaven in Dell's head
yeah.
before he sets him alight,
Hmm.
essentially. Yeah, no, I do think justice was served also in that film, being when he was made to watch what he did and all of that. Yeah, it's just a really, 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 really well written film. I would like to know how long in total it took Stephen King to finish that series
I
of short
think
stories when he was writing it.
yeah, that depends if he was on a cocaine binge back then or not. Right?
Right.
Because I think it's Cujo, the book about the rabbit dog that he wrote. He doesn't remember any of it. He doesn't remember writing it. It was like a week of almost no food and a lot of cocaine. And if you ask him about it now, he does not remember anything about it. He just sent it to his editor, and they published it, and that's it.
Wow. Okay.
So that's maybe one of the reasons why he was such a quick writer. But I think it maybe took like a year or something, which is long for him.
Mm.
So yeah, I think so. I think but it's a wild guess. I'm not sure. I'm gonna look it up. um, I can't find it.
Mm.
Yeah. I know here. It took him 16 months. That's a long time for him.
Well, I think we've all reaped the benefits of him taking his time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right. I've got a final segment for you. It's a little speed round. So I'm gonna ask you five quick questions. I think some of which I know the answers to. And you can just answer them with one film.
One film?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Best prison film.
Best prison film. Oh, okay, well, The Green Mile,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, I thought so. Best costume drama.
Ooh. Costume drama. Well, I feel like I have to say Bridgerton.
Yeah, you don't have to say that.
But then I also wonder what defines costume drama. Does it have to be in a certain period?
I think like medieval to Victorian era um is like seen as a costume drama or yeah, I'm not sure. But Bridgerton is also a show, so it's
True.
included already.
Well, does Pirates of the Caribbean fall into that? Because they're all wearing pretty dated costumes, aren't they?
Yeah,
That's what. wondering because I really enjoyed that series of films.
Yeah,
So.
me too. Like especially the first one and then the second one and the third one. I just rewatched them. They are like on the screenwriting level, they're such a mess, but they are so good. I don't know
Mm.
how, but I really enjoy those. And like a lot of people really don't enjoy those, which I don't really understand. I think it's nostalgia for me.
Oh man, well, I think I still love them. I think I still love them. I haven't watched them in a long time, but
Hmm.
great.
Yeah, like the second and third one are just quite difficult to follow because there's a lot happening at the same time. And
Yeah, the third one, that's yeah, definitely true.
there was like a video essay I watched recently, and they were like, yeah, um, they're actually good movies if you watch them as an opera, like a 5 hour long opera instead of actual coherent films. And I tried to watch it in that perspective, and they were better, much better. And the music, so good.
Of course.
But yeah, I think it qualifies as a costume drama, but I think that's a very original choice.
Thanks.
Uh, best police film.
Best police. Oh, that's really difficult. It has to be a film. Okay.
Yeah,
I would have said True Detective if it was a series.
yeah.
Police film. Um, I think I might have to go with. All right, come back to me. We'll make that the last
All
question.
right, yeah, great. Best video game adaptation.
Adaptation.
Yeah, like in a film.
That's hard.
Yeah, because there aren't many good ones.
No, there aren't. And the thing is, you play so many hours. You're so invested in the game that I just don't know that the film can ever live up.
Mm,
Again, if I was saying a series, I'd say The Last of Us.
yeah,
But a film, I think Angelina Jolie is a fantastic Lara Croft.
yeah, I
I
think
think
so
she's
too.
like pitch perfect for what the games were then. I don't know about the films in general. I think they're probably kind of dated now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with that.
All
I'm gonna
right.
have to go with her because
Yeah, yeah.
she's
But
amazing.
I remember it's been a long time, but I remember that those films were quite okay. There weren't like any Oscar-worthy moments in them, but I thought they were pretty okay Indiana Jones-ish films.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a conversation about musicals during the cheese and wine evening at Professor T's. So the best musical adaptation or the best film musical.
Ooh. Chicago springs to mind immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, the performances in that. Renee Zellweger, she's
Yeah.
great in that. And Catherine Zeta-Jones. Even Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
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 Okay. But I also really like Bugsy Malone. I love that film.
Bugsy Malone. I have never heard of that.
There is a very young Jodie Foster in it playing Tallulah. It's
Right.
it's a kids movie. They are playing mafia dons, except all the guns are cream pie. So
Ah,
people get pie in the face instead of killed.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, no, it's a
Yeah.
really good musical. I don't know if it's an adaptation though. I don't know what came first, the film or the stage, but yeah, they're both great.
Because are there like any musicals that started as a film and then went to yeah, of course, yeah, like Greatest Showman is one that started as a film and then went to the stage. La La Land.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Bugsy Malone in my watch list.
Yes, that is like the role that all the kids in the UK want when the school's putting on a play. They want to be Bugsy Malone or Tallulah or
That's great.
Lousy Brown. To go back to your previous question, I think it's got to be Training Day then for the
Yeah.
police film.
Yeah, that's also a really good film. I've only seen it once, I think, but I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, performances are absolutely incredible. Got
Mm,
nothing else to say about it. It's just wonderful.
it is wonderful. Yeah, all right. Then I'm gonna thank you so much for wanting to do this. I really enjoyed this. And yeah, thank you for making time for this because I think yeah you're quite a busy woman. So thank you so much. Thank you for being so nice on set. And yeah, um, I'm very glad we met and that we had a big conversation about video games today because I didn't really expect that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad too. And best of luck with your premiere tonight.
Thank you, thank you. Like yeah, before I forget, is there anything you would like to plug? Anything people should follow you on, people should watch, anything.
I don't actually think I'm in a place that I can promote anything right now.
All right.
But yeah, just keep your eyes out in the next year.
Hmm.
Appearing in a couple of things. Professor T is coming out
Yep.
next year in the UK.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
so for all the UK listeners, you will get it earlier. Belgian
yeah,
listeners will have to wait quite a bit longer. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. And yeah, all right. Thank you, Emma. I'm gonna stop the recording here. I always say, Barney had such a good idea for like a final line, but I forgot what it was. Like in Dutch,
oh,
it is dit was een videotheek tot volgende week, which means this was a video store until next week, but in Dutch it rhymes. And Bart
yeah.
instantly had something else to that also rhymed and also fit, but I forgot, unfortunately. All
Okay.
right, so bye, dear listeners.
Bye.